Meet the Bridgers. Ryan is an engineer and Amy is a journalist. They moved to Florida from North Carolina soon after their wedding 4 years ago. They are currently living in West Palm Beach with their dog Chance. The parents-to-be are preparing for the birth of their first child. Like the Ralstons, Amy and Ryan share the same questions and concerns facing all expectant parents.
Amy and Ryan, thanks a lot for letting me come in your house and visit with you today. I understand that maybe this is your first baby.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely. And look at your tummy.
Oh, it's big.
It's here.
Yeah. Looks like it's going to be soon.
4 days.
4 days.
Yeah, 4 days. Mm-hmm.
But who's counting?
Yeah, no, or sooner, hopefully.
Yeah. So what are you guys thinking about the upcoming delivery? What's going through your mind?
Oh gosh, I just want it to come, like, be here.
It's like waiting on Christmas.
Yeah.
Time to start slowing down as the closer you get. But it's exciting.
It's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Do you have any apprehensions or anxiety about the delivery, or
Lots.
like what are you thinking?
I don't. Well, I was really nervous about it, but I've read a lot of books and talked to my friends, and now I think I'm resigned that it's not going to be a lot of fun, but the end result will be worth it.
Okay.
I'm just sort of nervous about the actual labor, but.
Right. And you've planned for how you're going to handle that?
We have.
Pain management?
We have, and we have a birth plan, and we've talked with our doctor and taken classes, and so I think we've done everything we can do. I think it's just not knowing what to expect.
Not knowing what to expect is the hard part.
Right.
And thinking about your baby, what do you think the baby's going to be like? Have you thought about that?
Gosh, we think about that all the time.
Yes, lots of variables, I guess. We have friends who both have dark hair, and they've got a beautiful blonde-headed son, and so there's no telling. We're not even sure which gender it is.
Yeah, we don't know if it's a boy or a girl. No.
Wow,
Yeah,
so many
we're
people
excited.
these days really want to know. And is it something that you chose not to find out, or?
Definitely,
We
yeah.
thought it was just one of those surprises we'd like to have.
Isn't that going to be wonderful?
Yeah, we're really, that's the most exciting part. I don't know, it's all exciting, but.
It definitely makes it something to look forward to. It is no matter what. And we figure it's a surprise no matter when you find out. If it was 6 months ago when our friends were finding out, that was exciting. And
Right.
but now that
We're glad we waited.
yeah, for us,
Don't you think?
For us, it's good.
And I think sometimes things that we don't think about are with moms and dads who are about to have babies are that's like the imagined baby. And when you imagine your baby, you've got to imagine like 3 different kinds of babies.
Right.
So, and I'm thinking, because you usually have the imagined baby, the perfect baby that you think you might have, and then maybe what if it's not so perfect? And that's always running through parents' minds, I think. And then you end up with a real baby that you really have to get to know. So for you guys, what does that perfect baby look like in your mind?
Oh gosh.
Have you thought about that?
Healthy. I don't know. Sometimes when they weigh more, they look more cooked. So
for you, a nice. So you're saying for you, a nice big
be,
baby would be a healthy baby.
I think so.
And what about you, Ryan? What do you think? It's a perfect baby.
Yeah, it's hard.
you,
A healthy baby.
Healthy baby.
Okay. And have you explored what it might be if it's not? If you have a baby that maybe would be not just perfect,
Right.
because sometimes things happen.
Well, we have a lot of friends who are having babies right around the same time, and some have had minor things like jaundice, or and thankfully no one has had anything major. But at least with seeing some of their experiences, it gives you an idea of what could happen. So we just we spend a lot of time praying that it will be healthy, and if it's not, that we will.
It's God's will. One way or
Right,
another.
that we'll be able to do what we need to do. However, either way.
And even with all your thoughts about this baby, what it's going to look like, what it might be like, when it's born, you'll have to get to know who it really is, and it's going to be a whole new person with its own temperament and its own personality that's going to form. So thinking about your temperament and then maybe yours and knowing each other the way you do, What do you think your baby might be like as far as temperament goes?
Probably in the middle because we're so opposite.
Oh, so you guys are opposites.
So if it gets a little of both, then I think we'll be.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
Could you guys tell me what you think some of your temperament traits are that the baby might inherit? You know, whether you're like maybe a real intense person or a real flexible person, or maybe you're adaptable or maybe you're not. What do you think about that?
Well, in those cases, we're both pretty flexible,
Yeah,
I
we
would
are,
say,
actually.
and fairly easygoing. Just she's a writer, I'm an engineer,
Yeah.
and I guess that kind of designates the way we think. And
He's logical.
she's very creative. So
That was a good word choice.
it is.
And you know, you can look at that as maybe temperament, but also maybe has a little bit to do with gender.
Maybe.
Right.
When we think about genders, you know, not only careers, but genders and temperaments too. And the baby could even inherit temperament from your parents or your parents or if you have siblings. So,
Right.
you know, it's going to be a mixed bag to find out what you're really going to get, and that's the exciting part.
Yeah.
Definitely is exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thinking about yourselves now as husband and wife, what have you thought about what it's going to be like to be a mom and a dad now? How that role is going to change for you and your relationship with each other and other people, and where do you
Well, I
see
was just
that?
reading the other day that you really have to make sure that your focus doesn't completely center around the child, and that's always the center of attention, where when you come home after a day's in, you initially take time to talk with your spouse and see how their day was going, and that, from what the book was saying, is a positive role for the child to see that interaction. Like Amy was talking, to be able to,
Right.
you know, just watching the way your parents interact is a big influence on your life. So trying to make sure we do stuff like that, I think, would be
That's important
something
to us.
we're going to try to focus on.
That's great that you guys are thinking ahead like this and planning for what it's going to be like, because you really do have to plan for what environment you want the baby to be in, what it feels like, if it's stressful or if it's relaxed, if it's fun or if it's not fun or it's negative, and that does have a big impact on the baby's development. It really does. What do you think it's going to be like when you're maybe 2 or 3 weeks into the birth of this newborn and you haven't slept for a while?
I'm worried about that.
You're worried about that.
I like to
Enjoys
sleep.
her sleep.
She enjoys her sleep. What are your plans for feeding the baby?
I'm breastfeeding.
You're going to breastfeed.
Hopefully.
Okay, so that's a great thing you decided to do for your baby.
Yeah.
That's a real hard thing to do.
That's what I hear.
It's a very
From my
hard
friends.
thing to do, but it's so important for the baby, and it's good for you too. So if you find that you're a person that has to sleep a lot, and you need to catch up sometimes, do you have a plan for maybe pumping and letting Brian feed a night feed once in a while to give you a little break?
We do. We
Thought about that?
We have some. I mean, we don't know exactly how it will work out, but we bought a breast pump.
Okay.
And I will be home from work for 4 months, about. But then I'll go back to work, and in theory, I'd like to still be able to breastfeed. So I'm going to need that pump. And then we have parents coming for the first few weeks who will be in the area. So I'm hoping that even if I need a break, I could have a bottle in advance, and they could help out.
Right. Well, if you
I
need
can
any
have
help
a
with
bottle.
that, just call me, because we have a lot of resources, you know, that we can get for you, and I'm certified in breastfeeding, and I can give you
great.
tips.
Great.
So feel free to call me, you know,
Oh, good.
with that, because I see you guys so happy and robust today, and and I'm looking into the future and 3 weeks down the road from now, thinking, geez, I'm wondering what it's going to be like for them in 3
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah, we are too.
Because
That's
We're
always
worried.
happy as well.
Yeah, because if that's laid plans, you know, sometimes,
Sure.
like you say, in theory, they sound good, but it sounds like you guys are thinking ahead, so that's really a great thing.
We're trying.
We took the breastfeeding class. He came with me to the breastfeeding class, which was good.
It was good.
But it's a doll, and it's
Well,
not, it's
So
not
that
the same.
way at 3 a.m. and she's tired and delirious, maybe I can actually be helpful.
You will
because
be
I'll be able
helpful.
to talk to her and help her come up with a solution
Right.
instead of just standing there going, I don't know what to do.
Right.
Which I probably will be anyway, but at least.
And that's all. And sometimes, it's hard sometimes when you're sleep deprived to make a good decision for yourself, and she'll need somebody to help her. Say, you know what? I think you're just tired. Maybe if you sleep, you'll feel a little better.
Right.
I could take over for a while. And so great to have a dad involved, because sometimes in today's society, we just don't see that.
Yeah.
We see a lot of
He's
single
been great.
moms, and we see dads that are there, but really think it's not their part. Because of the culture they came from, their family culture, to say,
Right.
you know what, that's a woman's job. I'm not involved in that. And to see the dads involved and supportive is just wonderful.
I'm excited about it. For
Be
Yeah.
proud of yourself for that.
He's done really well. He went to daddy boot camp
Oh, he
at one of the
did.
hospitals.
How was that for you?
It was good, actually. Learned how to swaddle, and father brought his newborn in and went through the whole feeding process, changing the diaper, swaddling. Talked about all the things that I guess you would learn fairly quickly, but you'd learn the hard way. So hopefully I'll be able to remember some of those and not
Show
have to
me.
learn the hard. Right.
I don't know how to swaddle.
Right.
So.
When I stop to think about the fact that you don't know the gender of your child, if you do have a son, what have you guys thought about around circumcision? Because that's a big issue with couples sometimes.
We've talked about it, and I think we've decided to circumcise.
We're pretty sure that's the route we want to go. Kind of the thought was, we're not sure that it necessarily has to be done, but with the society, it's kind of custom around here that that's the way guys are, and so maybe so we wouldn't have to always feel different or picked on growing up about that we wouldn't do it just because it was something we felt, and make him have to live with it. But we're not sure. I mean,
We've questioned it, definitely. I mean, I think we didn't want to just do the status quo just for the sake of doing it, but at the same time, we don't live in Europe and we don't live out on the West Coast. We live here, and this is what most people do, and what his friends, most of his friends. I mean, so we just thought.
but we're still kind of.
Yeah, I don't know. We've totally decided.
Yeah.
It's a hard choice to make.
It is.
Yeah.
And it
It's
sounds like
definitely a
you're-
large decision.
And it sounds like the health benefits are pretty much even. Is that correct? So I guess it's just a cultural thing or a.
I guess you guys
Personal
put a
thing.
lot of thought into it.
We have, but we haven't decided the name either. So
We don't even know the name of the child yet.
Do you have a few names picked out?
Yes.
a few. Yeah.
Okay.
No decisions.
We have to look at them first.
Exactly. That's what I found a lot of the moms and dads tell me. They'll pick out a few names, but when they see the baby, they automatically know which one fits.
Right.
So you might find that'll happen too. I know what I wanted to ask you about. Have you gotten a lot of advice from people? Have people called you up and said, blah, 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 XYZ, this is what you should be doing? And you find that's happening a lot? And how do you deal with that? Or what do you do with the advice that they give you?
Well, people have taught us a lot of things, so that's good. But sometimes people say things and it just doesn't ring true. So try to let it go in one ear and out the other.
Okay, great.
Or some of it, but
Great.
I mean, sometimes it's disconcerting if you feel like you've made up your mind about something and then someone really starts talking to you, trying to get you to go in another direction. And it's hard when you've never done it before to feel confident.
And I think that something that you might think about, I'll just give you my little bit of advice if you want it, is your roles are all going to change and your relationships are going to change. Your parents are going to become grandparents and you're going to become parents. And then your role in the household will change if I come to see you, because you'll hear my input and you'll get a lot of advice from a lot of people. But what's going to happen basically is you're going to know what's best for you and you're going to know what's best for your baby. You're going to be the expert on your child, because you're going to know that baby more than anyone. And no matter what they tell you, this worked for my child, well, it might work for your child, but it might not, because all kids are different. They have different temperaments, they're different parents, your family culture in your household is different maybe than theirs. So if you listen and just say thank you, and then maybe it'll work and maybe it won't, because parenting is really just based on trial and error. There's no handbook to say this is absolutely what's going to happen and this is absolutely what you have to do. Every parent's different, every child's different, and you guys are going to be the expert.
Oh gosh.
You are? You're going to be the experts. Is that scary?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
That'll be fun.
Great.
So good luck with the delivery.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Appreciate
All
your
right.
I hope you enjoyed our program. Join us next time on another episode of Positive Parenting Today as we introduce you to more families in our community. We will continue to explore the touch points of child development as well as bring you topics relevant to the most rewarding role you will ever have, being a parent.